All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. So today we're going to take a deep dive into, well, the Tower of Babel story,
Oh, yeah.
as told by Ellen G. White in Patriarchs and Prophets.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I think, we all kind of know the basic story, right? I mean, there's a tower and then
A really big tower.
a really big tower. And confused languages and, humanity kind of scattered all over the globe.
That's the gist.
Yeah. But there's so much more to this story than that.
Yeah, way more.
So we're going to really kind of unpack that today and really see what White is trying to tell us.
And she digs deep, into human ambition and rebellion and even what it means to need something, bigger than ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think to really get into this story, to really understand it, we have to go back even further.
Further back.
Yeah, even before the first brick was laid for that tower,
Okay.
Because White, she connects the Tower of Babel to Noah's prophecy.
Oh, about his sons.
About his sons,
Yeah,
exactly.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
See?
You got it.
I've been studying.
Yes. But, I can see some people listening right now thinking,
What do Noah's sons have to do with a giant tower?
exactly.
It's a good question.
Yeah. But stick with us because this is where things get really interesting.
Definitely.
So Noah's prophecy, it's not straight up blessings and curses.
No, not really. It's more kind of hinting at the paths their descendants might choose
Oh.
and what those choices, what they could mean.
Like down the road.
Exactly, way down the road.
Yeah, okay, I see.
So Shem's line, for instance, that would lead to God's chosen people, the covenant, and then eventually the promised Redeemer.
Okay, so Shem's descendants, they're on the path towards God's plan for humanity.
That's right.
Okay, I'm with you.
But then you've got this tower, this huge tower that they're building, trying to reach heaven,
Yeah.
but on their own terms.
So that kind of seems like the opposite of following God's plan. You got it. It's like they said, nah, we got this. We don't need your plan, God. We're going to build our way up to you. Pride and rebellion.
Yeah. Wow.
Big time.
Okay, but wait, what about Ham and Japheth? Where do they fit into all of this?
Well, Japheth's descendants, they were supposed to share in the blessings given to Shem's line.
Really?
We actually see that play out, when the gospel starts spreading.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But then there's Ham and, oh boy, it gets a little complicated with the curse on his son.
Yeah. Canaan?
Yeah, Canaan. A lot of people have, a lot of feelings about that story.
Yeah, for sure. Sensitive topic, but I think it's really important if we're going to understand what White is saying here.
Oh, absolutely. Got to address it.
Yeah.
But, and I can't stress this enough, White makes it very clear. It's
Yeah.
not about racial prejudice.
No.
It was because of what Ham did,
Yeah.
disrespecting his father.
Noah.
Yeah, Noah. And that's, in this story, that represents disrespecting God.
God's authority.
Yeah, God's authority, the whole deal.
Makes you think, right?
He really does.
What if the choices that I'm making now,
Yeah.
what if they have a ripple effect,
That could last for generations.
Exactly, generations down the line.
Whoa.
Right.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's like she's saying we're all part of this bigger story,
This chain of consequences.
Yeah, this chain of consequences, of connections, all the way back to the beginning.
The very beginning.
It's it's huge.
It's huge.
And, so that brings us back to the Tower of Babel and, the people building it.
Okay.
What was going on there? These weren't just, a bunch of people who were oh, we like to build things.
They wanted to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, and White even says that there were, some deeper fears at play.
Totally. This is post-flood humanity. They were terrified.
Of another flood.
Of another flood. They're we are not doing that again.
Right.
They wanted to be in control.
To control their own destiny.
Guaranteed.
Their safety.
We'll build our way to heaven.
Exactly.
So ironic.
Right. So ironic.
Because, they were trying to create this unity.
It's unified empire.
This unified empire to protect themselves.
And then, bam.
They end up divided and scattered.
That's exactly what they were trying to avoid.
It's crazy.
Division, separation.
Yeah.
They brought it on themselves.
Again. But here's the really interesting part.
What's that?
White. She doesn't just, leave it as a history lesson.
She brings it home.
She brings it home. She draws these really direct parallels to how we think and act today.
Oh, yeah. She's hey, you're doing this too.
So she's saying that building a giant tower isn't just an ancient problem.
Not even close.
It's we're still doing it today, just
Maybe with different materials.
different materials.
Yeah.
Maybe not bricks.
Not literal bricks.
Yeah.
But the same concept.
Yeah. White, she points to people who they build their whole lives on being successful in the world.
Yeah.
Or chasing after money and power.
Yeah.
Those who they want to divide people.
Yeah.
Through prejudice.
Through intolerance.
Yeah, through all of that.
It's like we're all capable of becoming tower builders in a way.
In a way, yeah, we are.
That's a lot to think about.
It is.
But you know what? Before we all start to feel too bad about ourselves.
Too condemned.
Too condemned, yeah. Let's shift gears a little bit, okay?
Okay.
In the next part, we're going to explore how white connects Noah's prophecy and the curse of Canaan to the long-term consequences of Babel.
Long-term consequences.
It's like she's weaving this tapestry of choices and consequences that stretches, across generations.
That's a good way to put it, a tapestry.
Yeah.
Woven through time.
Woven through time. And maybe, just maybe, by really understanding this old story.
This ancient story.
We can learn to make, wiser choices in our own lives.
I think so.
So stay with us.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, you guys. So we're still we're digging deep into this whole Tower of Babel thing.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
And how Ellen White, in her book, Patriarchs and Prophets, connects it to Noah's prophecy.
Like a puzzle, right?
Yeah, kind of. All these pieces.
Yeah, all these pieces that fit together.
But it's really about, the choices people make.
Yeah, and the consequences.
And how those consequences last, a really long time.
Yeah, way longer than you think, right?
For sure. It's one thing to say, okay, you built a tower, so now you speak different languages, and you can't build your tower anymore.
Yeah.
But White takes it a step further.
Yeah, way further.
She's saying, this is just the beginning.
Whoa.
This is how people are going to act from now on.
So the Tower of Babel, it's not just this one-time event.
No, it's a pattern.
It's a pattern.
Pride, rebellion, doing things their own way.
Instead of God's way.
Exactly, separating themselves from God.
Okay, so to really understand that pattern, I think we got to talk about Ham.
And the curse on Canaan.
Yeah, his son.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough topic.
But I think it's a really important part of this whole story.
Oh, for sure. And I want to say again, White makes it clear, crystal clear.
Yeah.
It's not about race or ethnicity.
Not at all.
It's about what Ham did.
Disrespecting his dad.
Yeah, no.
Which basically means, disrespecting God.
God, yeah, his authority, his plan.
No, the whole thing.
Saying, I know better than God.
So it's not about judging Ham or anything.
Right, not just.
It's about understanding the principle,
The bigger picture.
Yeah, the bigger picture, our actions, they matter.
Yeah, and they can have consequences.
That last a long time.
Even for people who come after us generations later.
It's like she's saying we're all connected,
We're all part of something bigger.
We're all writing this story together.
And our choices, they all contribute to that story.
Okay, so how does all of that connect back to the Tower of Babel?
Well, think about it. The people building that tower.
Yeah.
They thought they were so great.
They wanted to reach heaven on their own, right?
Yeah, without God.
Control their own destiny.
Exactly. And Ham, he thought he knew better than God, too.
Oh, I see. So both the tower builders and Ham, they chose to do things their own way.
It went their own way, and it led to consequences.
Separation.
Yes.
Lasting consequences.
That's the thing.
It's a pretty powerful warning, don't you think?
It is, for sure.
So now I'm wondering, what about us?
Yeah.
We live in a world where, everyone's trying to be successful.
Everyone's trying to make it on their own.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that means, leaving God out of the picture.
So are we still building those towers?
That's the big question.
But maybe with fancier materials?
Yeah, maybe not actual bricks.
But with our jobs and our money and all that.
Our possessions.
Exactly.
It's easy to get caught up in all that.
Yeah, it's really easy.
And forget about what really matters.
Yeah.
White wants us to think about those towers in our own lives,
What are we building?
Are we chasing after success and money and power?
Or are we looking for something more?
Something deeper.
Yeah.
Something that connects us to God.
Oh, man. That's a lot.
It is a lot, but we're going to keep exploring this.
Yeah, in the next part.
We're going to talk about what White calls dwelling in the tents of Shem.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing.
It's about finding real unity.
Not just building walls.
No, not walls, but connections.
Real connection.
With God and with each other.
So stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
All right, so welcome back, everybody. We've been talking about, some pretty intense stuff, right? Ambition and rebellion and how our choices, they really matter. Even generations later.
Yeah, some heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff. But it's not all bad news.
Oh, no, not at all.
Like, there's got to be a better way.
There is. There totally is.
A way to avoid, like, building those towers. You know, the
Mhm.
ones that just end up, well, they separate us from God.
Exactly. And White, she talks about this really beautiful concept.
Okay.
It's called, like, dwelling in the tents of Shem.
Dwelling in the tents of Shem.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember how we were talking about Shem's descendants?
Yeah, they were like, you know, God's chosen people.
Right, the line that would lead to Jesus.
The promised Redeemer, yeah, yeah.
So dwelling in the tents of Shem, it's kind of like, you know.
Like aligning ourselves with God's plan.
Yeah.
Seeking his guidance, finding unity.
Through our faith.
Yeah, but like practically speaking, what does that even mean?
Well, I mean, it might sound kind of abstract.
It does a little.
But it's really about, like, making choices every day.
Okay.
Choices that show that you trust God.
Oh, I see. So like asking yourself, am I just trying to be successful?
Yeah, am I all about money and stuff? Or
Yeah, or like being famous or whatever.
or am I searching for something more?
Something deeper.
Deeper. Yeah, connection with God.
No, it's not just about like avoiding bad things.
Right. It's not just about don't do this, don't do that.
It's like actively building something new, something good.
Exactly. In your own life and in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, think about those tower builders, you know?
They just wanted to get to heaven on their own.
They wanted to be in control.
Make a name for themselves.
But dwelling in the tents of Shem, it's like, it's realizing that real happiness.
And unity.
Yeah, that comes from surrendering to God.
Wow. Not from trying to do it all ourselves.
That's the key.
So it's really about letting go.
Letting go of that need to be in control.
Of building our own little towers.
And instead, you know, letting God lead us.
Show us a better way.
And White, she says that way, it leads to a life of, like, meaning and purpose.
It's about finding something bigger than ourselves.
Way bigger.
Connecting with God.
Building a world that's full of His love.
Man, this has been quite the deep dive.
It has.
We've talked about pride and rebellion and consequences.
And choices.
And choices, yeah. And ultimately, like, the hope we find when we choose, well, a different path.
A better path.
Yeah, a better path. The path of humility, of surrender.
Of trusting God.
Yeah, trusting God. So as we wrap up, I'm going to leave you with this question.
Okay.
What towers are you building in your life?
That's a good one.
I mean, are they leading you closer to God?
Or further away.
Maybe it's time to, you know, put down those bricks.
Those metaphorical brick.
Yeah, those metaphorical bricks and, you know, start seeking shelter.
In the tents of Shem.
In the tents of Shem, yeah. Well, hey, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And until the next time, keep seeking, keep questioning.
And keep diving deeper.
Into the truths that matter most.
Absolutely.